think we're live. I think we're live. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. My name is Luke. Welcome to this English live stream. Today we're going to be talking about, well, lots of interesting stuff, but focusing on vocabulary. And don't assume what that means, because we're going to be focusing on a few different things related to vocabulary. My name is Luke. I'm an American English teacher, and I will be your teacher for this live class. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you're a serious learner and you want to learn seriously, then click on the links in the description. You can check out my full English courses. I have courses on thinking in English, how to build skills, how to build English learning skills, vocabulary, phrases, pronunciation, grammar, all of that stuff, and more, including professional English. So we have Uncle Ben here already. That's good. So welcome, welcome. Again, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm going to quickly update the cover for the stream. And then we'll get into it. Friends and neighbors, citizens, compatriots, rapscallions. All right. Hold on a second. Bear with me. Nihad is here. Historic stuff is here. Hey. Is brazenly and emphatic synonyms? Oh, that's a good question. Let's get into that shortly, okay? That is actually a good question. I like that question. I like it a lot. All right, we've updated it. Good to go. Jeet's here. Nieva's here. Rishikesh. Rishikesh. Hey, I spent some time. Rishikesh, is that a person's name or is that just a place? I've been to Rishikesh. I like it. I like it a lot. I like Rishikesh. I went there back in 2010, maybe 2010. Yeah. A long time ago. A long time ago. I've got my coffee. I'm good to go. Rishikesh is a Hindi name. Well, okay. I didn't know if it was just the name of a place or the name of a person, right? Because I know it's the name of a place, and now I know it can also be a person's name, which is cool. For Rishikesh, though, it's really two different places, right? There's the city part, and then there's the other part across the river where all the yoga people go to study yoga, which is quieter over there, I believe. They have just cows, no cars. Nice. Very quiet. Peaceful. Okay. Rishikesh is a name from a Hindu myth. Which Hindu myth is that? Which one? I've read some of them. Your hair is awesome. This is what it looks like when I wake up. Seriously. I don't mess with it too much, so I apologize. The reason it looks so dumb is that I cut it myself because I was in a hurry. Because I'm working on a course about pronunciation, and I just needed to get a haircut quickly. I wanted to film. I didn't want to mess around with trying to... Oh, the Mahabharata, yeah. I have not read the whole Mahabharata, but it's in my reading list, and I'm going to get to it. Isn't one of the characters in the Mahabharata Nachiketa? And he travels down to hell and then has a conversation with someone, a god of some kind, who offers him riches and wealth. And he refuses. He rejects that because he wants to follow the path of liberation. Amira, hi, how are you doing? Can you please tell us how we overcome forgetting words while speaking in English? Because it started happening to me. Thank you, from Algeria. That's a good one. Hello, Amar. Oh, we have quite a few people joining today. That's good. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We're going to get started in a sec. We have some good questions already. I will answer them. Don't worry. Don't worry. Again, when you're coming in, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the like button or follow and subscribe, depending on where you're watching. I see most people are watching on YouTube. But if you're watching on Facebook, you can follow or also hit the thumbs up button. Erwin. Hello, Erwin. Today we're going to be reading the entire Mahabharata live, and it's going to take 18 hours. All right, so why don't I just start taking some questions, and then we do have a topic planned. So here's the plan for today. As we usually do, we'll be doing a Q&A. So question and answer, I'll be answering English questions, pronunciation questions, grammar questions, idioms and phrases, really anything you want to ask. But since I am an English teacher, probably the most useful answers will come if the questions are kind of related to that, study methods and so on. I will also be sharing a couple of things related to vocabulary. So we're going to talk a bit about a tool for learning vocabulary, and we're also going to talk about common words, and you'll see what I mean when we get there, okay? So add your questions now, ask your questions, we'll get through those. We'll try to get to as many as we can, and I'll say this just one more time before we start with the questions. Subscribe, like button or thumbs up, and also check out the courses in the links in the description. All right, here we go. We've got, which one was the first question? Scroll down. Okay, can you please tell us how we can overcome forgetting words? Yes. Amira says, "Hi, how are you doing?" I'm good. Thank you. Can you please tell us how we can overcome forgetting words while speaking in English? Because it started happening to me. Thank you, from Algeria. So this is a good question, Amira. BTS fan, by the way. Army for life, right? So this is not something that's unique to English learners. It's not something that's unique to any language learner. It's common for everyone. I forget words all the time. There are times when there's a word that I think is in my head. I can tell it's rattling around in there somewhere. I rattle my head around and I still can't find it. It's like the word is at the bottom of a lake and I'm diving down. I'm swimming down, but I'm blind. I can't see. And I'm feeling around at the bottom of the lake for this word. And sometimes I can't find it. Now, for me, it's pretty rare compared to someone who is learning English, like yourself, Amira, probably. Why is that? Why is it less common for me than it is for you? Is there something special about me? Am I special? Do I have a special brain? Well, I was always told as a child that I have a special brain, but no, I don't think there is. Nothing special about me. The fact is that I'm a native English speaker. Okay, that makes sense. So most native English speakers will be able to remember English words more easily than most non-native English speakers learning the language in general. But that still doesn't help me. That still doesn't answer the question. What is it exactly about a native speaker of a language that allows them to find words more easily? And it's really, if you think about yourself as an AI, it's really all about examples and connections between examples or words. So if you know anything about how artificial intelligence learns, right? They do learning based on examples. So for example, if they're going to learn how to play chess, then you show them many, many chess games, or you have them play many, many chess games against themselves with the goal of winning. And through these many millions of examples, they improve. They improve because They have a lot of data to look at and a goal. So they're able to see, compare, okay, this won, this lost, this won, this lost. All right. Now, learning vocabulary is similar. You have training data. The training data is words. But when you learn an English word over here, it's kind of by itself. What's it connected to? It might not be connected to anything. So you're just learning the word by itself. So you memorize the word, and the thing that holds it in place for you is your repetition of the word or some technique you use to remember it. But over time, it starts to sink to the bottom of the lake, the black, dark bottom of the lake, because there's nothing holding it up. Number one, you might not be using it a lot. Number two, you only have one example of that word, perhaps. And number three, it may not be connected to anything else, like a situation. Now compare that to a native English speaker. That word that you learned, I didn't just learn that word. I learned it in a situation. Someone said it, and it was connected to the use of the word, not just the word itself. It wasn't an isolated word. That word was associated with a context, and the context told me what it means. So it's not just the definition. I understand it in a deeper way because I have the context. But that didn't just happen once. That may have happened hundreds of thousands of times in my life. That's my training data. And if I'm the AI trying to learn these words, my training data would be all of the different times that I've seen or heard this word used in different situations. So they kind of overlap. It can be used in this kind of situation, in that kind of situation, in another situation which is similar, in another situation which is totally different. And all of these create this self-supporting structure that holds up the word. So when I need it, it's right there. And I have a deep understanding of it because I've seen it used in so many different situations. So why am I telling you this? It really comes down to how you study words. If you're forgetting words all the time, maybe you're studying them the wrong way. Are you studying them in isolation, in lists? Probably not a good idea to learn that way. It's better to learn 10 words the right way than 100 words the wrong way, because in a couple of months, those 100 words are going to sink to the bottom of the lake, never to be seen again. And if you learn 10 words the right way, those are going to stay in place. What will help you keep those words in place? Those words require a context, as I said. So learn those words in sentences, create sentences with those words, try to use them in conversations, try to listen to them in conversations. So when you hear that word, pay attention to when, where, and how it was used, right? And ultimately try to create things with that word so that it sticks in your mind in more ways than one. Passive learning is one thing, active learning is another. Both of those can be useful. I see the context, then I create an example, I use it, I create a context. And don't just look at one example, look at many, many, many examples. Try to look at as many as you can. Look at words in sentences. That's very important. And if you do that, what you'll find is those things stay in place. And when you're having a conversation, all you need to do is pull up the intention to say something, and that word will rise up in your mind automatically because it's got connections to other things, to other words, and to a context that's related to what you're trying to say, right? So that's the right way to learn words. That's how anybody speaking any native language learns words. You learn by context. So I hope that answers your question, Amira. I hope that helps. Let me know if it does. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Very important. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Okay? Good question. Great question. Barty Crouch Jr.'s here. Excellent. Todd is here. Crap, I forgot to respond to Todd. I saw your email, Todd. I'll get back to you. I forgot. I saw it, and then I forgot about it. My bad. It's a good question about vocabulary. I hope people really focus on learning the right way rather than just learning it. There's a difference between learning it and learning the right way, right? All right. I'm glad we've got these vocabulary questions coming up. That's good. Why do Scandinavians speak English very well? That's a good one too. Edison says, Edison Carrera, why Scandinavians speak English very well? Yeah, why do people in countries like Sweden, Norway, Denmark, why the Netherlands, why do they tend to speak English very well? Well, there are a few different reasons, and this is not just, by the way, knowing the language, but speaking it well, and without a very strong accent. Generally speaking, it's the way that English is learned in those places. Part of it is the education system, but also the cultural aspect. So, now it's not exactly the same in all of these countries, but generally speaking, the education system doesn't just focus on things like quizzes and testing knowledge of English. In some countries, you can test knowledge of English, and overall you'll get pretty high scores on average. But then you test English fluency, and you find it's very low. Why is this? The education system prioritizes what they can quantify easily. Okay, 100%, 200%, 80%. Education systems need to be able to count things so that they can rank people, so that they can decide who goes where, right? Oh, you're very smart, or you're not smart, right? So having tests with specific points and answers and quizzes and knowledge, that's easier than doing literature classes. Now, I know that you can still grade that stuff, but if you don't have an education system in place which focuses on that part, then you're unlikely to see that kind of system. So it's more common in a lot of Scandinavian countries than many other parts of the world for English literature classes where they're actually reading books to enjoy them and discussing books, as opposed to just write an essay about this topic or A, B, C, and D multiple choice questions. To use language more in schools, right, to create things with language like creative essays and so on, it's fairly common. But also, on top of that, American TV shows are quite popular in those places. British TV shows as well, quite popular in those places. So people don't just feel that they have to learn English. In maybe some other places, I have to learn English at school, and then I go home and watch TV and movies in my own language. Well, that's fine, by the way. Totally fine. Whatever. But you're asking the question. So perhaps just as popular would be an American show or a British show, and I would watch that because I want to watch it, because I like it, and I may or may not have subtitles on, depending on maybe my level of fluency or my comprehension level. Now, that's it's very much a generalization. So I'm not saying that other countries or other places in the world don't do this, but specifically for Scandinavia, the recipe for success is English is pretty prevalent in those places, in those countries. It's something that people interact with not only because they have to, but because they want to, like movies and TV shows. And in the education system, it's not just passive learning and it's not just multiple choice. It's also active usage of the language, speaking and written, and also things like literature, reading books, writing book reports, discussions in English. So I hope that answers your question. If you're designing an education system, Edison, and you want English to be emphasized, but you want it to be fluency, then maybe think about adding some of those things. It's a good question. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button or the thumbs up button, and also subscribe. And of course, check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Okay. right. Edison question. Good question. Good question. Good question. Get someone's wheels turning. Hofstede. I know Hofstadter, but I don't know Hofstede. Cultural dimensions. Nilay, could you say a little more about that? Jay says, do you live in New York? Yes, at the moment I do. Asmi, how to benefit from books and to end up with a bunch of vocabulary and new ideas. Have a good day. Okay, that's a good one too. That's a good one too. Okay, I think, might have missed a couple questions up here, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit. ASMR coffee swallowing. I was watching a TikTok video and a lady said about her daughter, I want her to have 2.5 kids. What does that mean? I would have to know more about the context for that particular TikTok, Amar. I mean, it's a good question, but I don't know. That might be a statistical thing, like a statistical joke. Maybe an average number of kids. Maybe a joke about statistics. Could be. Amira, happy to help. Okay, I might answer Esme's question here. Best known for developing one of the most popular frameworks for measuring cultural dimensions in a global perspective. Here he described the national cultures along 6 dimensions: power, distance, individualism, uncertainty, avoidance, masculinity, long-term orientation, and indulgence versus restraint. Whoa, that sounds like a really interesting book. Tell me the name of the book. Tell me the name. Hi, Luck. So Esme says, hi, Luck. Nice to see you're live again. How to benefit from books and to end up with a bunch of vocabularies and new ideas. Have a good day. First of all, well, technically it's Luke, but so many people call me Luck that I'm okay with it. Who cares? My name is Luck. So when you're reading books, how do you make sure you get the most out of them? Not only the vocabulary, not only the idioms and phrases, perhaps, but also the content, the ideas, right? So maybe I can share a couple different things, right? Let's focus on the English learning part of that first, and then on the other part, the ideas learning part. A couple different things for that. So when you're learning words, the first question is, should I stop every time I encounter a new word and focus on that? Well, it depends on the difficulty of the book. If you're reading a book and you don't understand every third word, then either you're reading a book that's too difficult, or if you can understand what's going on, maybe it's best not to look up every single word. So first, I think it's important to choose the book that has the right level of difficulty if you want to use it to learn English, right? So it should be maybe 5 words per page, no more than that. And instead of stopping every time you don't know a word, as you read through, if you're able to understand it generally, I kind of get the idea, just quickly underline it or highlight that word and go on. You know what's being said, you know what's being talked about, but that specific word I'm not quite sure about. Then, once you finish either the whole chapter or several pages, or if you want to do it page by page, that's okay. I would recommend going back once you finish a chapter. Go back and then look at those words that you highlighted or underline. Don't just immediately go to the dictionary, though. That's a mistake, because then you're tempted to create a one-to-one translation, which isn't actually a one-to-one translation. Oh, this word in this word means this in my language. Not necessarily. Not only do words have many different meanings, but also maybe it's translated that way, but it gives a different feeling. It has a different connotation in this situation. So don't start with, oh, this means this in my language. Don't start with that. That should be your absolute last double-check step. The first step should be to try to understand what it means based on the context in the sentence, in the paragraph. So you read the word orientation. I don't know what orientation means. Okay. So once we found the proper orientation, we were able to have a productive conversation. Okay, what does orientation mean in this sentence? Well, okay, found the right orientation. Found the right orientation. Okay, so I understand kind of they're talking about finding the right something, but what is that? Well, it kind of reminds me of if I put the word position in there, then it kind of makes sense. Found the right position, then we're able to have a useful and productive conversation. So you're able to kind of guess it or get a general idea. That exercise is very useful because it forces you to turn on the puzzle-solving mechanisms in your brain. The problem-solving part of your brain is activated. And you say, what does this mean? Try to figure it out from the context before you know anything. Then you're also placing the word in English as a priority rather than immediately translating it, which would be placing it in your language as a priority. But the problem with having it in your language as a priority is that then whenever you need to bring up that word and use it, you have to first bring up the word in your language. And that's going to exhaust you. You're going to feel tired when you have to constantly be going back and forth between languages. So instead, don't do that and emphasize this word. So I'm going to try to learn this word in English. Next step, okay, look it up in the dictionary. In your language? No, in English. Look it up in the free dictionary, thefreedictionary.com, or vocabulary.com. Those two are really good. Look it up and look at a few example sentences. Read the definition. Try to understand it fully in English. Then your language has no part in that. Why should you have an exact translation in your language? Okay, then maybe, just to make sure, see what the translation is, but don't emphasize that. Don't focus on that. Then maybe try to write down a few of your own examples. Then go back to the text and make sure that that fits in that place in the text. Because again, words can have many different meanings and feelings, connotations, depending on the situation, right? Depending on how those words are used. A word is not a simple object. A word is a complicated, multifaceted object, right? Well, many words are, not all words. Most words are. So, that's how you should learn words from books, okay? Focus on emphasize context, focus on emphasize English rather than your own language, focus on emphasize problem solving, trying to figure it out yourself. And you'll find a lot more progress, and you'll find it's easier to remember and use in English when you need it. The other side then is, how do you get the ideas? So that's interesting, right? Sometimes you read a book and you just kind of generally get it. That's fine, but if you want to remember those, one thing that you can do is write down a couple of thoughts per page, or if you want to really break it down, per paragraph. So you read this page, and then you have a place with notes. Some people like to use the margins, but I think notes are good. So you're sitting down with your phone or your iPad or your computer, and you just say, page 347, and then you write down your explanation of that. Because if you just write down what you read exactly, you're not processing it. If you want to process it, you have to have an original thought about it. So if you had to take this complicated idea that you think is very interesting and explain it to a 10-year-old, Well, you'd have to find your own way to say that. And in order to find your own way to say that, you'd have to become something like a teacher, right? And a teacher has to really be able to deeply understand something, process it, and then explain it in a way that's clear to everyone, right? So don't say it in the words of the book. Say it in your own words, because that's active learning. You're proving to yourself that you're processing the information, right? And then you're more likely to remember it because you created something. An active learning process actually makes retention more likely. Higher retention when you're actively doing something, not just regurgitating and repeating exactly what you heard. So that's one thing. Now, a crazier step would be something that I do for some books that I read. It depends on the book. It's called a mind palace, memory palace. And what you do is you create a landscape, and then you place objects in that landscape, which would be the words or ideas that you're reading. Those are the objects in a landscape, which is maybe the whole book or the whole chapter. And then you associate something very memorable with each object. This is a process. You can look it up. It's called Memory Palace. I have another video about this if you want to learn it. That way you're not writing down anything. No notes. It's all happening in your head. What's the advantage of that? You're even more likely to remember it. If you write down a note, then you might have to go back and reference it. But if you have stored objects of meaning in a landscape in your head, and you've done it in the right way, it's very easy to pull those things up when you need them. Again, that's called the memory palace or the mind palace. So look up that method. It's really interesting. It's very powerful if you do it the right way. It takes practice, though, for sure. So I hope that answers your question. Esme, it's a really good one. And let me know how it goes. Let me know what books you're reading. Guys, if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button, of course, or the thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and follow for more videos, live streams, and check out my full courses in the links in the description. Full courses on pronunciation, thinking in English, phrases, idioms, all sorts of stuff, professional English. So check those out. All right. Good question. Good question. Good question. Good question. Good question. Good question. Are you also against dictionary usage for English? No. In fact, I'm going to talk about dictionary usage today. I'm going to share something about dictionary usage next. In fact, World Master. What is the best way to learn an accent? I mean, movies and songs have helped me learn English, but not learning an accent. Well, last time I talked about that topic, I got hundreds of comments that were not positive because people thought I was making fun of the accent, but actually I was not. So, I don't know. Maybe I should avoid that one. South Africans also speak very good English. Yes, I think that's true. Neela is really detailed here. Cultures, Consequences, and Cultures and Organizations. Software of the Mind. Co-authored with his son, Gert Jan Hofstede. Okay, I will check that out. I'm going to take a screenshot of that right now. Screenshot of the comment, so I'll remember it. Thank you. Thanks for the suggestion. The daughter is obsessed with puppets, and she wants to be normal and have 2.5 kids. I think it's a statistical thing, as you said. Ah, okay. I can't even, Amar says, I can't even remember the last time I used an Arabic English dictionary. My favorite English dictionary is Merriam-Webster, even though I almost punched a guy in the face because of it. Please tell that story. Tell that story. I want to hear about that. World Master, I'm not trying to do you bad. I'm just I don't want people to hate me, even though my intentions are sincere. All right, you know what? I'm going to talk about vocabulary dictionaries. All right? All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's do it. One sec. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go. When you're learning vocabulary, you have to make sure you're doing it the right way. The question is often, should I use a dictionary? Should you use a dictionary when you're learning English words? You may have heard me say before, it's better to learn in context, in the situation. But dictionaries, they exist for a reason, and they are useful. But you have to use them in the right way, and some are better than others. Now, you've heard me talk about the freedictionary.com. I've talked about that one. But there's another one which is very good, and I want to show it to you. So we're going to be looking at vocabulary.com. Vocabulary.com. And I'm going to show it to you. We're going to practice using it a bit, and you can see if it's a good fit for you. Now, why use a dictionary all in English rather than just translate in your own language? Because if you have to translate into your language, then you're learning your language and English together, connecting them. And then every time you have to say that word or you need that word, you have to drag your language along with you. That's not the best way to learn. Learn English in English unless you absolutely need to translate something. You absolutely need another dictionary. Learn English in English. That's the best way to develop the English brain, to think in English. Okay, so let's check out vocabulary.com. This is a dictionary for finding words, learning words, and then really remembering words. I'm not sponsored by them. I just want to show it to you because it is a good one. And I've looked at many, many dictionaries. I think this one is actually really, really good. So let's hop over to, here we go, vocabulary.com. Here's the main page. Now, what I like about the main page is that right at the beginning, they give you options to start learning immediately, even if you don't know where to start. So you could look up a word, of course, or if you want to just discover something, then you click on random word. I just want to learn a word. Okay, random word, it's there. And they have word of the hour, so they feature a lot of things, and that's, I think, pretty cool. I think their interface, the UI of the website is really good, so it makes things quite easy to find, right? So why don't we just look at a word and see if it helps us to actually remember, right? Because finding the definition is only one thing. Often definitions are less clear than the word itself, and then we have to look up the words in the definition, and that's awful. So what if we just click on this and see if we can actually learn it in English easily, or see if it's too difficult? So I'm going to click on the word externalize. Okay, now we have a bunch of information. And what I really like about this is that I have many options right in front of me. I don't have to scroll down like in many dictionaries. You have to scroll for 5 minutes to find everything. A lot of stuff, a lot of information right here, right? So externalize. First of all, How do you say that word if I hadn't already said it?
Externalize.
Ah, very clear pronunciation.
Externalize. Externalize.
Got it. Okay. So that's the pronunciation, and I can practice it. Externalize. Externalize.
Externalize.
Externalize. Okay, got it. Maybe I'll practice that 10 times. Now let's see if the definition is difficult to understand. The problem I have with, for example, Oxford. You read the definition. It's kind of hard to understand what it means. If you externalize something, you show or express it on the outside. You can externalize your anger at the poor quality of food at the restaurant, but the other patrons would probably prefer you didn't rant at the waiter in front of them. So would the waiter. So what's really cool about this definition is it's not just saying externalize means blah, blah, blah. It's trying to put you in a position already, in a context already. It's giving you a bit of context to activate your imagination. So I really, really like the way that they write the definitions. If you externalize something, you show or express it on the outside. Then they give me an example. That's really cool. But now I want to see some more examples, because if you really want to understand a word, you can't just see it in one place. You have to see it in different sentences, different situations, different contexts to deeply get it and understand it. Okay. So here her humanity was externalized, and all her lifelong for freedom from all her longing for freedom from disgust from the confines of her metal cage. Okay, not useful. So what I'm going to do, it's not useful because it's like literature and I don't understand it, right? So I'm going to search instead. I don't want fiction. I want news, because news is usually written in a simpler way, right? So they're now giving me news sources that include the word externalize. And again, news, because news is written in a way that 7th graders can understand, whereas literature is sometimes more complicated, harder to understand. Okay, so let's choose one from, Washington Post. This is from a real article. We should be tracking participants in these programs and their employees and charging these companies for the costs they externalize while amassing huge wealth on their balance sheets. Okay? I was called sissy in my young life, Mr. De Paula told the New York Times in 1999, but instead of internalizing those painful experiences, I externalized them in my work. That's a really good example. It helps me understand it very clearly, this one. In Mexico, the U.S. approach creates an interdiction state. Okay, maybe we don't understand that word, so you have to look that up. By seeking more enforcement. In both cases, you're externalizing your borders and making another nation your border authority. So at least I can understand it here at the beginning, although the first sentence is not so easy to understand. Okay, so then maybe I want to look up business or sports or fiction, right? And you can look them up by type, and that's really cool. I don't know any other dictionary that allows you to explore words in that way. Okay, it's very cool. Now, what if I want to, by the way, they show you the forms down here. So it's a verb, okay, externalize is a verb, and they show me examples and also synonyms, which are words that have the same meaning. So I could click on those and explore synonyms, words that have the same meaning. Right, okay. Now, what if I want to add this to a list? I want to really learn this, right? Okay, so add to list. Now, I've got a list here, useful adjectives, but this is not an adjective, so I'm going to add it to cool verbs. And I'm going to save list. So now I've got this list, cool verbs, and I've got a word in the list, and I want to practice it. So we'll practice it. Okay. Now, normally you'd have maybe, 50 words in here or 25 words in here. And I want to do a sort of a quiz. They're giving me a quiz with the words I have. This is not good because I only have one word. So we're just looking at it, right? We're just looking at it. Externalize means to Number 1, preserve by removing all water. No. Flatter in an obsequious manner. No. Make objective or give reality to. Ah. Deny or renounce. Ooh, so let's click on this one. Ah, yes. Amazing. And then it gives me more information beside it after I answer the question, right? So this is pretty cool. I think it's a good tool. There are more things here. We're not looking at everything. We're not exploring everything, but as a tool, as a way to learn vocabulary, as a way to discover vocabulary. This is a good one. Vocabulary.com. Also, thefreedictionary.com is good, but this one is, I think, visually better, and they have that really cool feature of showing you different kinds of examples, for example, from the news, from literature. That is quite unique, in addition to ways to practice what you learn and really remember. So learn words in English. Check out this dictionary. If you like it, if you don't like it, let me know. I want to hear what you think about it. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, if you enjoy my videos. And of course, check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Okay. So I think this one's cool. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. I love the feature of having the option to look at different kinds of examples. That's really cool. I'm becoming an English teacher, but I don't feel like my university is teaching me the right way, and they focus on difficult things or things that aren't useful at all. Well, that's quite unfortunate, World Master. I'm sorry to hear that. Sometimes I learn a word when it has like 7 different meanings, and when I look on the examples of all those meanings, I feel uncomfortable with that. I want to tip on this. Well, the tip would be to find more examples and try to get a sense of it. You don't have to know how to say the definition out loud. If you ask me for definitions of 70% of the words I know, it would be hard for me to give you a definition. What you want is to get a sense of it. So if you see one example with one meaning of the word, then it's harder to get a sense of it compared to if you have 10 examples with that meaning of that word. Then you can at least, okay, I get a sense of it. I'm pretty sure I know what it means, and I can start using it and trying it out. There is no clean line where it's suddenly, bing, I know it 100%, I've got it. There's no such thing as that. Like, the world is a mess. Learning is a mess. Language is a mess. And so you have to embrace the mess and accept that you're never going to get anything 100%. I don't have anything 100%. But can you use it? Can you interact with people? Wittgenstein would say, well, it's all a game, right? Language, it's game. So if I think I know what I mean and I express something, and you think I know, and you think what I meant is what I thought I meant, even though there's no way for you to check, we've created something in the middle between us, and we're able to accomplish things outside of ourselves. Well, okay, good enough. Good enough. Nile says, I've been learning English since primary school, and I think I've come to this point where I'm stuck with quite limited number of verbs, expressions, phrases. What should I do? Nile, I'm surprised to hear you say that. Your writing is very good. But I will answer your question because it's a good one. What should you do, World Master? Overthrow the administration of the university and become the new leader of the English teaching department. When I say overthrow, I mean just sort of embarrass them with language. I don't know. In all seriousness, let me think about that for a second, and then I'll try to get to that question. Nile says, I've been learning English since primary school, and I think I've come to this point where I'm stuck with a quite limited number of verbs, expressions, and phrases. What should I do? This is known as the last mile problem, and the last mile problem is very common among English learners. Level where the old way of learning no longer seems to work. Hey, I got up to this point, but I'm not getting anywhere. I'm doing the same stuff I was doing before, but I'm not getting anywhere with it. Whenever that happens in life, in English learning, you have to find a new model. You have to find a new way. Just because something worked for the last 100 years doesn't mean it will continue to work, right? That is trying to say what has worked always will is never a good idea, because sometimes you reach a point and you get what's called diminishing returns. Diminishing returns means exactly what I said. It works until it plateaus or flattens out. And once it flattens out, it either stays the same or starts to go down. The point of diminishing returns for learning vocabulary, for mastering the English language, would be studying, learning vocabulary in the traditional way, repeating the vocabulary, right? Maybe practicing writing with exercises. So this would be something that would help, but then lead to diminishing returns when you feel like you're not making progress. So what do you do then? How do you overcome the last mile problem? Well, think about what things you do sometimes with English that stress you out. And then you have to go headlong into those things. The things that make you comfortable are the things that you should stop doing. The things that make you comfortable are the things causing your diminishing returns that aren't working anymore because you feel comfortable. You've mastered those. So it doesn't work. The things that stress you out, cause you to feel panic and worry and fear, those are the things that you should be moving into, and they're telling you they're the right things by causing you to be nervous and afraid, if that makes sense. So maybe that's speaking in public. Maybe that's starting a YouTube channel. Maybe that's reading a really difficult book. Maybe that's writing a blog. Creating things with the language. Maybe that's having friends who speak English only and having to interact with those people often. I don't know what those things are for you. They're different for everybody. What are the things, the situations that you might encounter, the challenges that you might have to deal with if you tried them, that would make you feel really scared at first. If you do those things and you get used to doing them, you will have overcome a challenge in the English language that will then take your skills to the next level. Join a meetup group where you're discussing things all in English, difficult things all in English. Is that a scary thought to you? If so, you should probably do it, right? Start a YouTube channel all in English. Is that a scary thought to you? Then you should probably do it. Watch movies without subtitles. Is that a scary thought to you? If so, you should probably do it. So it's already telling you what to do. You don't need me to tell you. It's all there. And it's the same with almost everything else. You want to become a bodybuilder, right? You do certain things to get up to a certain level of fit, of muscle mass, and then you notice, hey, this is not working for me anymore. So you start doing other things that are way more difficult that you thought would be impossible a year ago, but you've reached the point where now that's what you have to start doing, right? That's why people fire their coaches and get new coaches. There's nothing wrong with that coach. When I was younger, I played golf very seriously. I had a golf coach, and I got pretty good. I got so good at golf that I was as good as that coach. He couldn't teach me anything anymore. So I had to get rid of that coach, and I had to get another coach that was a better coach, that was way ahead of me, to learn from that coach. There's nothing wrong with the old coach, but the old coach could only get me from 0 to 10. But I needed to go from 10 to 20. But the coach is stuck at 10. So how can you expect to get better if you're just staying around 10 all the time? 10, why am I not improving? I'm doing 10 things. That's because you should be doing 20 things. Well, that's so hard. Exactly. Do those things for a while and you'll get to 20. So I know there are a lot of analogies there, a lot of examples, kind of a mess. But that's what you have to do. And I don't know what those things are for you specifically, Ile, but you have to do some self-reflection and really think about that. And if you really think about it, I think you'll come up with an answer on your own. And then make a routine. Make a plan. Decide what you're going to do next, and you'll see the progress that you're looking for. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button, thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Okay. Yeah, and it almost doesn't matter what it is, Barty Crouch. You just have to do something hard. Do hard stuff. Do difficult things. Yeah, for this one, I was talking with a student who was dealing with this. His university, he wanted to be a coder and a developer, and he was better than the university. But he has the mindset of thinking the university knows better than me, so I'll just stop making progress until I get to university. No. There's no such thing as real authority, right? It doesn't exist. It's all consensus. So if everybody thinks that this person has authority, then they do. And if nobody thinks they have authority, then they don't. So if you decide that your university is not giving you what you need, then you've decided they don't have authority. Okay, you need to complete the program to get the certificate, maybe. Go ahead. But in the meantime, okay, I want to complete this with real skills. Okay, so then find where the real stuff is being done. Maybe it's happening in communities. In your case, you want to be an English teacher. Okay, start teaching English to a bunch of people and record your classes and then take notes and get feedback from other teachers. Find your own program that's working for you. In the meantime, maybe you need the certificate, so go ahead and finish the certificate. But if you're going to get to the end of that program and you feel, I'm not going to have the skills I need, then you've wasted a lot of time, right? Long time no see from Narula. Vissel, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what going on is. I don't know what's going on. Which one is correct? I don't know what's going on is correct. I don't know what's going on is correct. Sure thing, World Master. You'll be master of the world in no time. TKT tests I'm not familiar with. I know Tessel and those, but Teffel. but TKT. What the heck? What the crap is TKT? TKT test. Teaching knowledge test. The Teacher Knowledge Test, or TKT, is a professional credential that focuses on core teaching concepts for teachers of English as a foreign language. The British Council explains that the TKT is a test of the skills you need to be successful in teaching English to speakers of other languages. Oh no, I never got that, so I guess I have to... Guys, I gotta end the stream right now. I don't have it, so sorry. Let's end the stream. TKT. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Technical knowledge test. I'm curious what the questions are. Okay, no, that's not it. Anyway. Teaching knowledge test, technical knowledge. Oh, they're two different things. Oops. TKT, there's another TKT. I want to see what TKT questions are. I want to know. Cambridge Assessment English. Very curious about this. Okay, I got a PDF here. Got a PDF here. Want me to read some of these questions? Lexical terms. Phrasal verb. Compound noun. Word with negative affix. Compound adjective. Word family. Verb and noun collocation. Noun with affix. Okay. I'd rather go somewhere else. In this sentence, I can hardly see. I can hardly see. It's so dark. In this sentence, hardly is used because A. The speaker is trying very hard to see. B. The speaker is unable to see. C. It is difficult for the speaker to see. That's not hard. These are not hard. Okay, anyway. Mar, do you have any tips for multilingual people, Luke? Sometimes languages get mixed up when I'm having a conversation with someone. I start saying words from all the languages I speak. It's funny. That's interesting. I think in that case, probably it would be a matter of one, because I interviewed someone a long time ago who speaks, I think, 5 languages, and his native language is Portuguese. You can see the interview on the channel if you like. Native language is Portuguese, but also speaks Spanish, Romanian, and other languages I forget. But he said sometimes he would get mixed up in the same way, and it was because he had lost a touch point with his language, or he started using too many Spanish words, and sometimes Spanish would spill over into his Portuguese brain, right? And so he said it was because he had lost daily connection to his language, as though the walls need maintenance somehow. And I'm just speaking from, talking to people who know 4 or 5 languages. He said the best thing he did was make sure to have almost daily touch points for every single language to maintain the walls, to sort of have this language unit and this language unit be separated by constantly practicing them. So he would call his mom regularly. He would read articles in his language, but then he would do similar things within each language so that none would atrophy and go out of practice, and the walls would start to crumble, and then other languages would kind of sneak in sometimes. So you have to maintain the walls. That's just what he told me. I thought that was interesting. I've spoken to some other people who have shared something similar. People who speak 3, 4 languages have said something similar, is you have to kind of maintain the walls with regular upkeep, and that means regular practice, and that means regular touch points with the language, even if it's reading articles and browsing. Yeah, there are people who speak 10 languages, 12 languages. Okay, I want to talk about something else. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Good to have you here. Thanks for the good questions today. I really appreciate that. Oh, you know what? I forgot to share the stream into the WhatsApp group. Let me quickly do that. Give me a second. Give me 1 second, please. I'm going to share the stream into the WhatsApp group. Okay. Mar said, that's too much work. Okay. All right. I don't always get to watch your live streams, but when I do, it's really inspiring. Thank you. Well, thanks for joining, Nile. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. I really do appreciate it. All right. Hopping over here. I've had quite a few people ask me, do I need to learn the most common English words first? Should I learn the most common? Should I get a giant list of 5,000 words and learn them all? Not necessarily. Why? A couple reasons. Number one, you probably know more of them than you think you do. Number two, the thing that should tell you which words to learn next should not be some list that some other person made. It should be your life, what you need. So do you have a job where you need to learn more English words related to your job? Well, then focus on those. Allow what you do in your daily life, the movies you watch, the things that you interact with in English to tell you what you should learn next, what you should do next. And don't let other people tell you what to learn next. Be attentive. Pay attention to what is most useful to you. And if you do that, you're going to make progress more quickly. If you follow a path someone else has created, you're following someone else's path. Not necessarily very useful to you. However, for the sake of exploring this a little bit, what are the 5,000 most common words? Well, let's look at that. One of my favorite dictionary websites, vocabulary.com. It's a great way to learn words. I strongly recommend it. It's a really good one. They don't sponsor me. I'm just saying it's a good dictionary. They have a list of the 5,000 most common words if you want to see them. I think you know more of them than you think you do. So let's take a look. I'm going to hop over to vocabulary.com. Here we go. And I'm going to just show you what words we might find here, and you can decide for yourself whether it would be worth you studying the 5,000 most common words. I think maybe for the sake of seeing how much you know, but not necessarily the best thing to do always. Okay. Unsurprising, isn't it? Be, in, have, I, he, on, do. These are the most common words. What a surprise. Say, at, but, not, by, as, go, can, get, all, make, about, know, will, as, up, one, time, there, year, so, think, some, people, take, out, just, see, come, now. Well, you probably know all of these words. Okay, well, I know the first, I know these, I know these, I know these, I know these. I know the first 1,000 easily. Here we go. Let's see what's let's look at 400. Let's go to 423. 400, word number 423 is 423. We're almost there. 423. Carry. Oh, I know that one. Okay, so carry is the 423rd most common word in the English language. Great. Well, what if you see one that you don't know? Well, just learn it. How do you learn it? You click on it, if you're using this website, and you look at the examples to try to understand it. Okay, maybe we need to go further. I think you probably know most of these, all the way up to 5,000. You probably know more than you think, but let's try to find a unique one. Okay. Let's go to, I'm having trouble finding a unique word. I know these are all so common. Okay, I still know that all of these are so obviously common. I think you know all of them. All right, let's go with executive. All right, here we go. So click on the word executive. Bingo. Listen to the pronunciation, of course, first.
Executive. Executive.
Executive.
Executive.
Executive.
Executive.
Executive. Got the pronunciation. Easy. Now, what about examples? Well, down here you can see, of course, examples. The executive wondered where his children were at the moment. Oh, okay, the executive. So this is a person. Okay. The first few times he called, Amy discussed gallery business, but little by little, Megan began complaining about her husband and Westinghouse executive named Van. So this is a person, a kind of person. What kind of person? An executive is a powerful person. Oh, a powerful person from Westinghouse. Got it? Who is responsible for making things run smoothly. If you become an executive, you might be in charge of an organization, a business, or even an entire country. Ooh, powerful person. It's a noun. It's a noun. It's a noun. But here's an adjective. Having the function of carrying plans out, orders, etc. The executive branch. So it can be used as an adjective as well. Interesting. Person who administers the law. A person responsible for the administration of a business. Well, that makes this one make sense, right? The executive named Van. Got it. Easy enough. All right, so I'm starting to get a sense that I understand the word. Maybe I'll add it to my word list. It's a noun, so maybe I'll make a new list and I'll add it to that. Or maybe I want to add it to my useful adjectives list because it can be an adjective. Okay, so then I can study it later. The point is, I'm just exploring. I'm just playing around. When you learn words, don't have this attitude of, it's all serious. I've got to follow this structure. I've got to learn 25 words a day. Try to be as playful as you can with language. Now, I would recommend, rather than looking at the 5,000 most common words, look at words that you encounter. Study words that you encounter in your daily life. Write them down and then use something like vocabulary.com or thefreedictionary.com to learn them. Look at the examples. Practice the examples. Listen to it. Remember the pronunciation. Repeat it several times. Read the definition. Make sure you really understand it and its forms. The important thing, though, is to have a sense of play about it. Don't take it too seriously. Don't be too strict with yourself. And don't say, I just need to memorize it. Because if you're just memorizing it, you're not really learning words. Learn by play. Learn by example. And you can't really say you know a word until you know how to use it, especially how to use it in its different forms. Feel free to check out vocabulary.com's list of the 5,000 most common words, although I'm not necessarily recommending that for you, although vocabulary.com is a great tool. Guys, if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, and check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. All right. I like the list, but you probably know most of them. You probably know most of them. All right, did I miss any questions, guys? Did I miss any questions? Arcanary, hello? I think no. Well, in that case, I think we'll call it a day. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for asking great questions. Thank you for participating. And we'll be live again next week, of course. I'll be posting a new video shortly, so check that out. If you have other suggestions for videos you'd like to see or topics for live streams, let me know in the comments, of course. And again, appreciate you hitting like and subscribe, checking out the courses. Those courses are on sale, I believe, so check those out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.